Juniors called up to the Springbok camp, and we make our picks for the Paarl Derby. It's all coming up tonight on Rugby on 216, brought to you by Thirsty. Good evening, hello, and welcome to another episode of Rugby on 216, brought to you by Thirsty. The Derbies are back. We're going to be talking all about that today. I'm joined by Spoon and Cooks. We're getting back into studio. It's becoming regular, the three of us back together again.
Yeah, I mean, the band's back in town. You know, we're back in studio. I mean, we're excited. I mean, obviously next week we're down in Paarl. So it's nice to be in studio. I mean, it's nice that Spoon comes back to Joburg once in a while again. He's finally found in his GPS where Joburg is. So it's nice to see all Spooty, but yeah. How you, boy?
I'm good. It's awesome to have Alex. You know, we had fun those 2 weeks that he was gone. We mentioned that a lot now. But we're over it now. It's good to have him. He brings a bit of structure. Because the two of us, you know, we'll go haywire. So it's good to have him and making the plans. And yeah, it's probably the week of schoolboy rugby in South Africa for this year.
We spoke about this last week, that the Baby Boks were champions of the world, and subsequently Rusty's called up a couple of the guys to train with the Springboks to get sort of aligned with the Springbok way of life. Bato Tlekane, Hashim Pete and Cheswell Uester. Also the news this week, Bato Tlekane moving from the Sharks to the Lions after this Currie Cup season. He's going to play in the URC team with the Lions. So yeah, just your thoughts on that, straight out of the junior setup to the Springbok alignment.
Yeah, well, great news for Noordheuvel, Bishops, and then as well Graham College with Bato Tlekane. Look, the thing is, Bato is probably the most physically ready out of that under-20 squad to just, you know, make the jump straight away. Another man, JJ Tron, you know, also straight into the Currie Cup. A lot of these boys, in fact, straight into the Currie Cup. But I think Tlekane is the most physically ready to make that jump. I've heard whispers that Rassie is interested in getting his work rate up, all right, because he's fantastic in his deliveries of key performances in a match. But we all know Rassie's battle stats. How quickly can you make a positive contribution after one? And I think that's where Bato needs to grow just a little bit still. Cheswell Uester is just made for the Bok game plan, isn't he?
Let's give him a scrum cap.
Yeah, scrum cap.
Yeah, that's all we need.
The step.
Yeah.
And real pace. I mean, that's Kurtley Aronson, Cheslin Colby for you. And we all know Rassie likes to replace like with like. You know, you've seen that. There's a very position-specific thinking in the way Rassie does things. And then Hashim P just took the world by storm in that World Under-20 Championship. So good on them. Great thinking by the brands trust. Getting the guys involved, and we've seen that throughout the alignment camps over the last 4 or 5 years. There's 50 or 60 players in the country that Rassie wants to know is ready when he presses on their button. So great thinking, I believe.
I love, you mentioned battle stats with Bato. I think Bato Tlekane is phenomenal. Obviously, Graham Boy stands the leopard. Incredible ball carrier. Gets around the park, makes massive hit. I think he knows in his game, the older he gets, is the battle stats is fighting more and more and getting better, getting the conditioning to a level. I think the move for him with the Lions is fantastic because I think is a very good chance of getting the URC squad.
Yeah.
You know, you look at, Chizo Uester, he's a sensation. I mean, we all watched him in the last year's international series, and we're like, some guys are born to finish. Just natural born finishers. That's Cheers we're used to. There's wings who can score tries, there's wings who finish. Hughes is one of the best finishers we have in this country. And I'm not even saying like, oh no, like under 20. No, in the country. It's exciting to see him in the Craven League. Hashim Pete broke all of Antoine Dupont's under 20 record in scrum off.
Yeah.
I mean, that's good company to keep. So I'm very excited to see how they go.
It's so exciting that we've been able to see them from school as well.
Yeah.
We've been able to follow their whole journey, their whole pathway. So it's exciting.
I mean,
to see
you
what's
sat
gonna
down
happen.
with Riley last year in the national series.
Yeah.
We chatted to Riley before, so and we've also spoken to Setu Nebulele, so and Batu Tlikane has been on different SuperSport schools content as well. So yeah, we've been following the guys, and let's keep that trend though. Talking about the pathway, the next generation, the under 18s. The squads were announced this week for the international series. Quick thoughts from each of you. We obviously will talk about this as we get into the international series, but just quick thoughts.
For me, I mean, it's an interesting one, right? Because there's a few players who didn't make the original squads. You look at, for example, like for example, like Randall John Davids, for example, injured, gets back in the mix. It's two great squads. You know, I'm very happy with how it's gone. You know, look at someone like Ozzy Forster, who was in the SAA side, gets himself now into the SAA 18 side. I look at that SAA 18 side, and the first thing that I think is balance. Is they've ticked every box in terms of balance. You look in the front row, hooker, even the loose forwards, the way they play. Here's my question again. Ozzy Forster has to play 12.
Yeah.
You guys, between Ethan Adams and Marcus Miller, the coaches can decide to play 13. But Ozzy Forster has to play 12.
He's a 12. That's why.
He's a 12.
Yeah.
And neither of the other 10 or 12.
So that's my biggest thing. I mean, I'm very excited. So obviously you got, Liam Manila, you got Liam Manila there. Obviously you got Ruben Groenewald. So it's very exciting for me because they're playing 4 games, horses for courses. If it's raining, you're playing England, for example, give me Ruben Groenewald. If the conditions are great, maybe playing against Ireland, the conditions are great. You know, if it doesn't rain in August in Paarl, play Nina.
Yeah.
They're on the show. So I'm very excited to see how these squads go.
Look, I think the big thing people out there must realize, this is 2 new squads. Theoretically, it doesn't have anything to do with SA schools. And SA schools are you pick over. You're allowed to pick over. You know, Franco Rousseau from the Pumas coming in to the SA school or the SA under 18A squad. Really glad for him. He had a very good Craven
For
week.
you as well, thank goodness.
Reynard full unit last. High class, quality, good sportsman. A little Riley Norton, in fact, cricketer, rugby player. He's been absolutely superb throughout 24 and 25. Big omission for me, Darius Ervia, as a fly half. I thought he's been absolutely outstanding for Grey College the whole year. He was good for the Free State at Craven Week. Interesting to think that there's 4 fly halves all ahead of him in the queue. So I think he's unlucky, honestly. And it's got nothing to do with the fact that he's from Bloemfontein. I just think he's been really good all season. He's a quality goal kicker. And there'll always be some unlucky players, you know. But if you look at those sides, Yehia Bardenhorst also getting himself across, the big tight head from the Free State. He was in the SA Schools A side. He's in the main SA under 18 side currently. Love the side. Agreed with Cooksey, Ozzy Foster to play at 12. They'll probably rotate those 3 centres. Foster to start at 12 and then Miller and Adams, you know, hopefully in combination in the 13 jersey. But that's up to the Brands Trust there to make those decisions. That's why they're there. Lamlam Gadezi, will he play at 15? Will he play at 11 or 14? That's what they did in the SA Schools versus SA Schools Ace game. They got Lamlam Gadezi playing on the wing. So lots of options, lots of choices. Great to see the best of the best in these squads. So there's definitely a case to be made in my mind for Darius Ervia, Jordan Steenkamp, and maybe in a lesser degree because he never got into the province Craven Week sides or the academy side, but Travis Pfeiffer.
Oof.
The fly from Paul Roos, the grade 11 man. Maybe the thinking is he's got another year, that sort of thing. He didn't get himself into the province sides.
I still don't know how they'll afford better flyers than him in the Western Cape.
So,
They'll pick ahead of Travis Pfeiffer.
but we're not selectors.
We're not selectors.
We're rugby lovers.
You're just giving everyone more ammunition. You've got your picks already, and now
I don't think it's about ammunition. I think it's about what we see and what we've seen throughout the whole year. And lethal finisher, Jordan Steenkamp. He scored hat-tricks, king of the match performances in 2 of his games, So,
well, what you've seen throughout the year did lead you guys to get 100% of your picks right this week.
And the Red Cap's back in studio again.
Yeah.
Of course it is.
So the Red Cap doesn't get transferred.
Just on that.
It stays with Sput. It is your Red Cap because you guys picked exactly the same for all the matches. Anything surprise you with the results?
Can I just say, it's quite high scores. It was pouring with rain down in Greyhound this weekend. But one of the hardest fixtures to play, and any coach will tell you, is the first game in the third term.
Yes.
You've got guys who've gone to Craven Week. Some guys are SS schools. This week, some guys are being named in the SNA 18 side. Some guys' minds are all over the place. But to wake up, you look at, Gasfontein, Paarl boys, even Gray, to put out a good performance in the first week. Because remember, kids get back to school on Monday. You play rugby on Saturday, you blink. And yes, some schools, they train the holidays, you try. But some guys, like, as a Craven Week, they're like, so I've not had a break.
Yeah.
I'm on a break and the guys come back. So come back and put in a performance. That Paarl comes out is ruthless for me, is what ruthless and
that's
clinical.
the word. Clinical, ruthless.
When they have a side they can put to the sword, they put them to the sword. They haven't been caught up many times. Like, Paarl boys had the Wynberg game, close game, and if Paarl has an advantage, they've hurt side.
Yes.
And they've hurt them properly. That Wynberg is a good side this year. 68-22, thanks for coming. They go to the farm in Boland. Thanks for coming.
So in retrospect, Cooksy, I think Affies or Paul Gim will go, throughout the whole season, we've taken the foot off the pedal twice. Against Affies on our home field when we drew, and in a shortened game at Newlands against Bosch. So they weren't pedal to the metal in those two. But here's the beauty. They learned from that, and they did. So ruthless, efficient, clinical, those are the words. And then the fourth word, and this is where they get you, tempo.
Yeah.
This is where they get you. This is where a quality side like Wynberg gets put to the sword because you just can't get there anymore.
Yeah.
They hurt you by tiring you out, and they are so well conditioned, like supremely well conditioned, the best in the country. And that's why they're up there, I've got one question, though. I see 4 results. We've made 5 picks.
You did make
I'm pretty sure we've made 5 picks.
You did make 5 picks.
Thank you. I wanted to say we got 5 out of 5.
Is hiding the Bosch one.
It was a technical glitch.
Look, unlucky to play Paul Roos at Markota with
A couple
4 of your
players.
stars
Yeah.
missing. Josh Neal, Randall John Davids,
Harry Saboy.
Harry Saboyle, fly half. That hurts you because you've not just lost 3 stars. You've lost your line-out option and your captain. You've lost your ball carrier in the back line, and you've lost your decision maker.
Yeah.
So you've lost the nucleus of the guys making the decisions on the park. And then to go, if there's one thing that this also proves is North goes to South better than South goes to North in Cape Town.
Yes.
Or in the Western Cape.
Yes.
Had those 3 fixtures been in the South, it would have been close. All 3 of them. Was it at Wynberg, Sachs, and Rondebosch? They would have probably been at the most 10 points in the matches. But as soon as those buses start in the South, and they've got to travel other side the Boereborg Gordijn.
Yeah,
tough.
it's tough.
16 days, getting a great win over
Paarl boys.
Of our boys.
Yeah.
Massive.
But interestingly enough, that SAC side is a quality outfit because they made up almost the nucleus of the province and the 16 side.
It's
Yeah.
good.
So there are exciting things to come.
Yeah. So going to Paarl and getting a win, I think it was 36-35, high scoring 1 pointer, great. And I'm very happy for Grey High breaking the hoodoo against Ramsby.
It was about time.
Let's see then what this has done to your guys' stats. Obviously, or first rather, something that we must mention that is up here. Garsfontein beating Monash quite comfortably, 68-17. So that's supporting your season's big call for Garsfontein to do the three-peat. And also, you said your big call that's now got a tick on it for 26 July. Wynberg or Sachs will lose. They both lost. So, yeah, you get that.
I just want to go back to that Garsfontein does the three-peat, Pooksy. I love that competition. And the more time I spend there, I was there over the weekend again, I get to understand it better, And that season, because it's a long one, or that competition, because it's a long one, goes through ebbs and flows. And guys on form and then not on form. And, it's like a Currie Cup season.
We've seen it, though.
So now, is the dark horses all of a sudden Helpmekaar? Because they're striking form at the right time. They're sort of trying to get themselves into...
Reminder that Cooks and you, Transvaal will make the SDC Noordval Cup.
Yeah, that was
But again,
now it's Cooks and me. That was Cooks.
But then talking about ebbs and flows, they were flying at a set.
Yeah.
Yes.
Helmholtz was phenomenal against them yesterday. So that's it shows. Men apart.
Yeah.
At the start of the season. Men was flying. Look good, had a great North side. Came in this season. They win the tied game against Garsfontein. Haven't looked the same since. So that's what you saw, right? But you talk about ebbs and flows, but who's been consistent?
Garsfontein.
Okay.
So I believe the guys that can challenge Garsfontein all of a sudden looks like Helpmekaar. Because we all knew what a quality side they've got. But keep in mind, a lot of those guys are grade 11.
Yeah.
And the start of their fixture list this year was not easy. They had to play Oakdale. They had to play Grey College.
Yeah.
They had to play. So for grade 11s, you can easily be caught in the headlights against the big boys. But all of a sudden, now that the season is on the go, you're still a grade 11, but you're a grade 11 with 12 first-team caps. That makes a hell of a difference. So, I think Helpmekaar's coming into their own. It's a massive battle for positions 2, 3, and 4 for the semi-finals because it's still very open. But Garsfontein will be in the semi-finals. They've won 7 from 7, 5 points in every game they've played.
This is how the stats were looking last week. You're both on 69% with 38 from 55. You know, both jumped up to 43 from 60. And gone up to 70%. So you're into the 70s.
Back to a B average.
Exactly. We will pick later on in the show for the coming week. Some nice picks in there. So I'll let you think about that for a little bit. But the Thirsty Red Cap still belongs to you, Sput. We're going to take a quick break now on Rugby on 2 and 6, brought to you by Thirsty. We've got the picks coming up after the break.
Some incredible school rugby this weekend and plenty of contenders for the Machine of the Week. I've locked in my vote. The guys will reveal the winner after a quick water break with Thirsty.
Hier kom my bokser. Kiewies? Anna? Maar waar is die Anna?
Hey, hey, hey! Ik kom niet boksen, ik kom niet boksen. Ik kom niet boksen, ik kom niet boksen.
Wow, wow! Ek sê mos, wow! Bring vir my die boks.
Okay, so. The Courier Guy, the courier behind the box.
Can you deliver something for me?
Where to?
Hy wys vir my, hy wys vir my. Put this one in the Springs box.
Sure. Sure. You sure? Sure. Sure. Sure.
Yeah, man, you sure?
Yes, I am sure. Look at this thing. It's presidential. What if we get caught, man? Nobody gets caught in South Africa, man.
That's true.
Now lift. I'm sure.
Don't just be sure. Be sure. King Price ain't sure. Insurance you can be sure about. Visit kingprice.co.za.
Votes are in. The pick is made. It's time to find out who's earned the title of the Machine of the Week.
Well, welcome back to Rugby on 2 on 6, brought to you by Thirsty. And as Cheslin said, it's time for the Machine of the Week. This week, Junaid Pasensi, Garsfontein, after their routing of Monas.
Yeah, he was good. He was so good. Monas came into the game with a bit of a plan, a sneaky one, of bombing him with up and unders, because at times he can be suspect. But then obviously you need a good chase line, and you need to compete against him in the air, because otherwise he runs you ragged. And that's what he did. You know, he opened up the spaces for Druin Barron and Junaid Stewart. So Garsfontein's back three, all three played Craven Week for the Bulls. So they've got a fantastic back three, and their style of play brings wingers and fullbacks and outside centres into the game. And Pasensi was on top form. His counter-attacking was brilliant. What a lot of people miss about him is almost like Siyaya. They miss the fact that he's got a very good left boot on him, kicks it a mile, and he's a tough customer. You know, he's originally sort of out of the Western Cape, and he's a tough customer. So yeah. Awesome performance and well deserved.
Cook showing why he's SA under 18.
Yeah, showing why it's an 18A. You know, I mean, you're special on the weekend. You know, you look at what Garsfontein does. The hard part is, but they've got a good pack.
Yeah.
You know, also Opropi over there, good pack, and then they create front football. You got the likes of Pasensi, Stewart running at you, and Pasensi was different class.
Let's talk about old school jersey of the week. Where I'm wearing one, you're wearing one, you've got one, so I'll just talk first. We're going to talk about the Paarl Derby, so that's why I'm in my one Paarl jersey I have.
Does that mean you've made your pick?
He's made his call.
We're going to talk about that.
Well, you got to wear the jersey. I know.
It's not my job to make the picks, guys.
Okay.
But I am going to this week. But let's talk about your jerseys before we talk about the picks.
JP, I know they've got the 100th JP Cares Derby this weekend. They took the first one away at Kes last year. The last 2 years, we know it was 1-1 away from her. You know, but I just believe this year it's going to be
the double.
Cooks,
double.
you said at the start of the year, Kes were going to win both. And, I mean, they nearly won the first one. And I remember all of us being up in the scaffolding watching Sport Commentate, or listening to Sport Commentate, standing there watching it all unfold. What do you think is going to happen this time?
I mean, I'm not making my picks yet.
Okay.
It's part of my picks. Obviously, I mean, it's going to be massive. I mean, this derby makes it's so fascinating how the away sides tend to win. Obviously, I think at JP, I think if I'm not mistaken, it is the reunion this weekend. Last year, when they had the reunion, this time they're obviously coming off beating Grey College. All boys are creeping on the woodworks to get back to JP, and they lost. So big pressure, and it will probably be on JP. But I know Triggers venting on the guys. He'll get them sorted out. Even like Marco Engelbrecht at Kes. Kes have won big fixtures this year in terms of, I mean, it hasn't been the greatest of seasons, but they've been running about. Found a way to beat Newshaven. So when you push, so they've put in performances they need to. So yeah, very, very fascinating. But
Your jersey.
my jersey with St. David's. And it's not more, I know this is a schoolboy rugby show, but it's a shout out to Timber Bavuma, captain of the Proteas, the World Test Championship, was in Langa during the week to go back home. And now, obviously, St. David's named the Timber Bavuma Oval. So, yeah, I thought it was a perfect time to
It's
bring
nice.
out
That's
Yeah,
well
it's
timed.
the
Yeah.
Davis. It's the Davis jersey.
5 matches for you guys to pick. How do you want to do it? We seem to do it differently each week. Do you want to go rapid fire?
No, this time we need to discuss.
This time there needs to be
because-
discussion and deliberation.
Yeah,
Jury room.
Yeah.
Okay. Almacar, Rustenburg.
Help my car.
Help my car at home.
Okay. So
Rustenburg
no
is
discussion
No
needed.
discussion there.
Let's go. I'm going to help my car.
Now, Rustenburg is brilliant at home.
Yes. But after
Not
this
always
week,
so good.
Which is the key
Traveling.
of the Northville Cup, though. Is it's tough to win away from
Yeah.
home.
for everyone.
And help is a good start. So we'll
Yeah,
help.
I'm gonna
And
go.
after their performance this week,
Yeah.
I'm not surprised. Okay, we were talking about it. Kez Jeppy, round 2, number 100 at Jeppy.
Being number 100, the sort of theme is going to change. I think Jeppy was well served to play DHS this weekend and lose by 24 points to 10. We all know the quality of that DHS side. So losing to them by 24 points to 10 is not the end of the world, especially, before a massive fixture like this. I'm going Jeppy.
I make a big call for Kes to do the double. Everything in me says I should stick by that call. But I think Jeppy gets the job done this weekend. I think they'll bounce back from this loss this weekend. I know Jeppy, Kes a great win against Pro Boys. Last 2 minutes to clinch it. But I just, at home, I think I'm agreeing with Sport. I think,
Yep.
I'm thinking that the Kes does the double. Jeppy does the double, which is so funny. I thought Kes would do the double this year. Now I'm going for a Jeppy win. And also, if I go against Jeppy one more time, Triggers Fenter might also bank.
Excuse me.
I've gone against Jeppy, I think 4 or 5 times.
Yeah.
I'm due for them. I'm going to go Jeppy.
Cooks, you had a bit of a moment saying everything in you feels like you should go for Kez. So if Kez do end up winning, you're going to feel like I do with the impossible truth, where I just hate myself. But anyway,
He's got about 10 losses to go before he feels like you feel everything.
Yeah.
So you're all right.
Affies Waterkloof.
Affies.
Okay, another easy one. Grey High, Grey College.
Great college.
Great college.
Okay, well, now so you guys have gone all the same, all the way down. Every single one of those 4.
I give it hard. How does one pick this?
And now we get to the 5th one. I'll tell you. Let me take you on a little segue. Okay.
Yeah.
Let me show you some numbers. Right. What these numbers represent is when we do the things that the other guys usually do in the show. So I usually answer the impossible truth. You guys have done it twice. You got both wrong. I've only picked once,
Yeah.
So where's the file coming from?
and that's what happened weeks ago in like show 9. So today I'm going to pick, because it's not something I ever do.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you guys first why. All right. I'm
Okay.
wearing Paarl Boys jersey, so I'm going to pick Paarl Boys. Not just because I'm wearing their jersey though, because I've spoken to some of the guys in the southern suburbs who've played against both schools, and the impression I got from them was Paarl Boys. Just from having played against them, the physicality differences, they said Paarl Boys felt for them a lot more.
Was the roundabout shows?
So we're going.
It's because roundabouts played Paul Kim in like February,
Yeah. And listen, I think I agree with it on with them then on the physicality stakes, not on the result. Not on the result.
he makes one pick and then you go with him.
No. I'm not. I'm saying I think
There's
I might.
so much more to it, but I have to give
Yeah.
a reason. I have to pick.
Look,
so-
physicality, maybe definitely because they'll have the rotating.
Paul Boys are physical side.
They'll
they
have the
rotate the
rotating
forwards,
props.
yeah.
They've got Gershon Peters, who's a physical specimen at lock. They've got Kudu van der Merwe, the captain, who's physical. I saw he played at 8 this weekend, where he usually plays at 7, with Gaffie Kok playing second side this weekend. So maybe there's something brewing there. But then tempo, right back at you. Physicality meets tempo, and only one of the two is going to win. Paarl Kim's tempo, barring none, is the highest in South Africa.
You are the holder of the red cap, so
Yeah.
I've been talking up boys. I've been talking up boys for 3 weeks. I've almost at a stage.
You called it early.
I called it earlier.
You said they'd be one of the top 3,
But they will
which
now,
is
win or lose.
indisputable, so-
Win or lose in this game,
Yeah.
that's safe. So I don't need, on account of that, to pick them. Paarl by 8.
You know, this game makes me laugh. You know, Mzwake Nkosi, who's coaching the Lions Curry Cup side, he's got a saying that I love for games like this. He goes, killers versus killers, one must die. And that's how it feels. 1 versus 2 in the country. The winner probably goes to number 1.
But the good thing for both of them, the loser probably stays at 2.
No, probably they've been the 2.
It's 1v2. We just don't know who 1 and 2 are yet.
And we speak about, just remember, and let's make it clear, we don't rank sides.
Yeah.
I rank sides.
Yeah.
He doesn't, I do.
No. You rank, no, what I'm saying, we don't have an official rank.
Yes.
Okay. But the only way one of these 2 sides doesn't end number 2 is if Paarl Boys High loses this one and Great College beats Paul Roos at the end of the year. Then Paarl Boys High might finish at number 3.
Didn't Paul Boys beat Grey?
They did.
Okay, I thought so.
But they are in the top 3. You know what
I just thought so. I just
You didn't think so, you knew.
I just had to remind foot again.
But Paarl Boys High is in the top 3 in South Africa.
Yeah.
Win or lose.
100%,
Yes.
yeah.
Okay. As is Paarl.
Yes.
So if Paarl loses this, they might still end number 1 anyway.
Yes.
Or number 2. They don't go lower than 2.
You've picked Paarl.
Paarl by 8.
So for me,
Killers versus killers.
killers was killers, one must die. I mean, I'm very excited. My first Paarl Derby I'm going to this weekend, so I'm very, very excited.
I'm excited because I went to last year's Paarl Derby. It was the first one I went to, and it was quite one-sided. So this shouldn't be one-sided.
Paarl did that. I mean, they're out with the green for the last few years, a couple of years. They're out with the green. They're unbeaten. They've got arguably the best player in the country. They'll be, I mean, their coach will say they haven't had a bad game probably until the last 10 minutes against Affis. Affis is, I mean, Paarl is cooking. Paarl Boys by 2.
So here's the thing that I want to make perfectly clear here is Paarl Boys has a very good chance in this inter-schools match. A very good chance. But because of everything you've said, because of the rub of the green, because of the momentum, because of this, sanity will prevail and Paarl will win. Although sanity never prevails in this inter-schools. That's the thing. So whoever the favourite is for the match, traditionally, if you go and look at the results, becomes the underdog.
Yeah.
You know? So and that's the one thing both of these sides will want to go into the game as the underdog. So Shaun Erasmus will be banking that Boys Eye is going in as the underdog. Peter Rousseau and Helmut Leerman will try and find a way to say we are the underdog, you know?
Yes.
And you know how easy it is for them to say that? Because they'll go, we have less provincial representation, we have less this, we have less guys on this side, we've got, so they've got superstars.
You know how much we love, Peter Rousseau and Helmut Leerman very much. You can't walk in if you have lost the game this year and say you could be the underdogs. You can't. Foot.
Paarl the favourites. I say Paarl
Erasmus has a plan for Cooksey.
Okay.
And I will not be surprised if Shaun Erasmus's plan works. I will not be surprised.
I don't know what the plan is, but it's giving me that capper.
That's brilliant.
The plan for me.
I'm gonna.
So if there wasn't pressure on Shaun Erasmus already, now the thirsty red cap is riding on it.
And just one of truly the most special sporting occasions on the South African calendar. It is seen as number-wise the biggest schoolboy rugby game in the world. And this year, for the first time in quite a while, it is the biggest schoolboy rugby game in the world because it's South Africa's number 1 versus South Africa's number 2. Then, which makes it 2 of the 3 or 4 best schoolboy sides in the world taking each other on at Forest Yard. I can't wait.
It's going to be amazing. And if you thought it was sad that there's no Springbok rugby for a little while, don't worry, because the Forest Street Derby is the biggest thing happening next Saturday. We're going to be there. It is the biggest schoolboy rugby derby in the world. Tens of thousands are going to descend on Paarl during the week. Can't wait for that. And it's the only thing splitting the guys' picks this week. Who will hold the red cap? Well, we'll have to find out after the break. We have an interview coming up your way, so don't go anywhere. See you in a bit.
We were lost for 3 days. I told him to ration the water, but he somehow went and drank every last drop in the first hour. I have a family.
We urge the public to remain calm. There is no leak. However, we have identified a thirsty individual who's responsible for this water crisis in the Western Cape.
He almost left Brackenfell for Waterkloof just because of the name. Almost.
Jason, is this true?
Yeah, that's true. I am thirsty.
Some things you don't choose. They choose you. A name, a history, a legacy that came long before you and will last long after you're gone. It's not just about the game. It's the moments that shape you. The early mornings, the long bus rides, the chants that never fade. The friendships, the rivalries, the feeling of being part of something bigger. It's a belonging. Something you carry with you wherever you go. Because once you're a part of it, you always will be.
Welcome back to Rugby on 216, brought to you by Thirsty. For today's interview, I'm joined by Henny Liebenberg, who's representing USN from a nutrition side of things. Henny, welcome to Rugby on 216.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Alex. Really appreciate it.
So we have you in studio today to talk about supplements. It's a topic, obviously, that's very big in school rugby, and it's, I think, a topic lots of people have concerns about, but also don't necessarily understand everything about. And I really want to just start off by throwing to you and asking you to talk about some of the misconceptions around supplements and maybe even if you want to start with what actually supplements are, because it's quite a broad term as well.
Yep. So I think first thing first is a big philosophy for us is the fact that food must always come first. I mean, in anything from performance that you do or trying to achieve, your body operates on things that it knows and identifies, and that's food. Food, plain nutrition, that's where we need to start. Supplements being exactly what the word says, it is supplementing to something that's already existent. So you can hop on all the supplements in the world. If your nutrition base isn't existent, it's not going to help you. So yeah, that's the first and foremost thing to remember whenever anyone wants to start their journey. But the big thing is supplements. The typical misconceptions is is dangerous for children. Especially one thing I deal with a lot is like the topic of creatine. Certain whey proteins, because a lot of people buy supplements but without any information or making informed decisions, which is a big thing that we struggle with. So safe ages to really start or to start off with supplements, it's very dependent on what your goal is. I mean, my background coming from years of performance in the field, so with varsities and schools, so I had kids as young as 14 years old on creatine and whey protein. But the most important thing is educating them on why we're doing it. And the biggest thing is also just teaching them safe supplement usage, which is very important, because if you're just going to go to a local pharmacy, you're going to buy supplements, same as anything we get actually in the world. If we're not going to do it in moderation and how it's supposed to be used, it's gonna be detrimental. Yeah.
And I think one of the big topics, you talk about creatine, you brought that up there, and also talking about answering. I was going to ask you about the ages, so thanks for that. But let's talk about creatine then. It's pretty much the most researched supplement in the world, with the body of work that's gone into to researching it. So maybe to talk about that, I think sometimes if you just hear the word and you know nothing about it, it can seem a bit intense.
Yeah, I think the misconception comes from years ago, even though it's the most researched supplement in the world. At some point, somewhere, someone started saying that creatine is a steroid, and I don't know where that latched on, but it started sticking with people, and the stigma really became terrible. I also think people started linking it and relating it to muscle performance, and specifically gaining muscle. So if I want to get bigger, I need to create creatine, but it's actually not the function at all. It's more energy supplement. So if you look at what its purpose serves, it actually just serves your immediate energy system, which is ATP. And because you've got more energy availability when we get into the gym or on the field or whatever, because I've got more of that immediate energy availability, I can actually perform better. And that's where all the proof lies and all the success, and not necessarily because it's going to get you massive.
Yeah, 100%. And if we talk about rugby on 2 and 6, we're talking about kids who are playing rugby.
Yeah.
And obviously, supplements are supplementing, like you said, things you already get from food. And anyone who's, the kids are all in school now, they know from bio that proteins do different things to carbohydrates and all of this. So for rugby players specifically, what are sort of the most common things that supplements are used for and actually benefit for and are useful for?
So I think the first things first, recovery. Recovery is key. I mean, even as kids, they recover so incredibly quick, but it aids recovery. So biggest thing is creatine and protein will just aid massively in our recovery, especially getting good quality of carbohydrates in. If you maybe want to use a carbohydrate-based supplement, it'll help pre-game. Some people like caffeine. It depends on if you can use it or not. There are also carb supplements that have caffeine in them that can be used as a pre-workout. But the biggest thing is basic recovery. At the end of the day, that's all we want to do. We want to recover. We want to have better building blocks, and supplements must fill the gap that our food can't. And that's all that it needs to be used for.
And do you think it's something only for players who want to play at the highest level? Maybe that's the first team for their school. They want to take it further. Or is it something that people throughout can use, and how should they?
So I think the biggest thing is it's for anyone, because like I said, at the end of the day, recovery leads to field time. Field time leads to enjoyment. Enjoyment leads to cool stories to tell to your chommies. So I think at the end of the day, it can be used by anyone. And again, look at what your goal is. From there, once you have your goal and you've got your meal plan in place, just identify at which points or which parts I cannot fulfill with food because of time constraints. It might just be budget, whatever it is, and then fill those gaps specifically to you with supplements.
And I think it's a great way that you're talking about it, fully about that it's this balanced nutritional approach. So when parents and kids, because obviously that's a large part of who watches this show and will be learning from this information, when they now maybe going out to get these supplements for the first time, and not really knowing what to look for, where can they find out where can they find information to tell them what they should be looking for? And are there any tips you can have about what sort of to avoid and what to prefer?
Yeah. So firstly, the information is on USN's website. And then I personally actually work with the reps that get trained and so on that are placed in the pharmacies as well, and Dischem, just finished training with them. So they're really clued up in what they can advise to give. Then easy choices. Firstly, informed choice. I mean, we all know from South Africa, it's a great place to start, especially like in Dischems or Clicks or whatever. The back of the product, the informed choice or informed sports is always the best place to start because, it's a clean supplement that has been approved. But from a USN point of view, try and stick to white and blue label products. Black tub or black label products is more so for high intensity events or the bodybuilding side of things, where the blue and white labels and bottles are actually more so for core series, safe tested supplements for anyone to use. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. And then all I want to ask you, is there anything you'd like to add, anything else for the parents, for the kids, and maybe even the coaches who are watching?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is we live in a world with a lot of information. So if you actually just take the 5 to 10 minutes to go onto the internet and even just do a little bit of research or go read up on the product on the website itself, you're going to save yourself a lot of trouble instead of just walking in and trusting a random person with giving you information on what your child needs to take. So I think maybe spending the 5 to 10 minutes as a coach, as a parent, even just reaching out to USN or myself. I am on Instagram and stuff. They're more than welcome to send me a message. Just reach out, get some more information, and go from there. I think that's the easiest thing to do.
Awesome. Henny, thanks so much for joining us on Rugby on 2 and 6.
Appreciate it.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
We're going to take a quick break now on Rugby on 2 and 6, brought to you by Thirsty. See you in a bit.
Bottles disappeared. Profits vanished.
It wasn't theft.
Our biggest customer became our biggest problem.
I wouldn't call it a problem. He just likes to hoy a few with the boys.
The guys in the first team used to call him Camille.
Because he was so tall.
No, not Camille Per, Camille. He used to drink 200 liters of water in 3 minutes. after practice, like a bloody camel.
Is this true, Jeven?
Yeah, most of that is true. I am thirsty.
In a world where every second counts, will he make it on time? Out here on the streets, anything can happen when the odds are stacked against you. One man finds the will, the drive, the passion to steer his path to destiny. It's a Swift.
Welcome back to Rugby on 216, brought to you by Thirsty. All we have left to do is ask the ref and the impossible truth. I'm worried about the impossible truth because I could go down below 50% for the first time today. So, but before we get to that, ask the ref. First things first. Anything you've noticed this weekend? Any questions?
Yeah, I actually have one, and it's about the referee getting in the way. You know, we've all seen it when a pass hits the referee, it sort of becomes a scrap to the to the ball carrying team. But is there a little bit of interpretation sometimes allowed? Because it doesn't always have to hit the referee for him to affect play by being in the way. And can you then, sort of, is the rule or the law bendable in that sense where a referee goes, okay, I can use common sense. Sorry, I affected play negatively.
Well, the first thing is we obviously try very hard not to be in the way because none of us want to be smashed by forwards and people coming at speed. I've done an internal league game once before where I cleared a ruck, I was reversing out the way and a prop came to clear out and I just went flying. And the next day, this calf was twice the size of this calf.
You don't have a bit of video footage of that, maybe,
luckily
somewhere?
Not. I do have a clip somewhere of during COVID, I was running touch and somebody got tackled into touch onto me and I just went. He literally landed on my leg, so I couldn't take a step back to brace. So I just fall flat backwards.
Can we get that stuff maybe on here sometime?
We'll see if we can find it. But yeah, we try not to get in the way. But obviously we have to stand somewhere. Yeah. Sometimes we do. The play is dynamic. It happens. The law is very clear about the ball hitting the referee. If it hits the referee and either team gains an advantage, then you just award a scrum to the team last in possession. So that's in law, it's written, it says that. And then also, if the ball touches the referee in goal, or if the player carrying the ball touches the referee in goal, then the referee has the power to decide what would have happened next if the ball touches them. If a player holding the ball touches them and then can't score the try, whatever, they award a try. So in a way, you can score a try against the ref. But yeah, that's very rare. But it's specifically for in goal. It doesn't cover explicitly what should happen if I take out the last defender by being in the way. I literally fully block him from being able to make the tackle, something like that. So then it's down to our interpretation. The referee can call a scrum. There's literally a law that says a referee awards a scrum for something not covered in law. So if you get in the way, and there are laws, they're meant to be interpreted, there are laws in place for if the referee affects the ball, if they affect a try. So by interpretation, it's fair if the referee has affected play in some way to stop play, have a scrum. It would be the team last in possession. And obviously someone has to gain an advantage because we get in the way sometimes, but it has no effect. So we just play on. But yeah, it would have to be quite obvious that it's affected a team significantly in some way, especially because the law doesn't mention it. But I don't think anyone can get upset if the referee has clearly obstructed play and say, okay, let's just take a scrum.
Can he play, advantage for that? Because you get what I'm saying? Because I'm referring to a specific incident in this case, in the Garsfontein Monash match, where Monash was in their own 22. They threw over the line out all right, and the referee got in the way. Then the ball was kicked into the in goal of Monas.
Yeah.
But you could see Richard O'Neill keeping his eyes on it.
Yeah.
And then almost as if he was playing advantage, because then Garsfontein nearly pounced on it in the in goal. And I got the idea that if they did, he would have gone back for the scrum, but the ball went dead before they could score, and it was then a 22 kick-in to Monas, which I think he deemed as advantage over.
Yeah.
Because it'll be a better position for them to kick on the, from the 22.
So I would say you don't explicitly play advantage.
Yeah,
Usually when it happens, you should blow it straight away. But you might give it a couple seconds to breathe to see.
Yes, I think that's what happened.
Was I actually in the way?
Yeah.
And also a situation like that, if you do have assistant referees, you let play continue because you don't want to also stop play, but actually you weren't in the way and now you've stopped a try scoring opportunity.
Yeah.
So let it happen, and then you can always ask an assistant, listen, I think I was in the way. I'm looking to go back for the scrum. So that can also happen. But for something like that, you blow the scrum usually straight away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny, I mean, watching the Lions test on Saturday. Against the Wallabies, Andrew Porter, Jake Gordon was whichever picks up to a snap. Andrew Porter is the first defender of the ruck. That pillar, and you got the other prop next to him, touch furlong. And then as Jake Gordon snaps, Andrew Porter, the ref is in the wrong, the fellow is in the way.
Yeah.
But it doesn't go, and the ref says, no, he had enough time you shouldn't be able to adjust. But I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, ref, from that position, that split second of you having to, not defending, but that's the difference between that and an arm break. And he was under the pole.
Yeah.
I mean, you mentioned like that's what can happen.
And also something I would tell players is that if the ref's in the way, ask him to move. Sometimes players will get upset with you and say you're in the way, but we have no idea we were in the way.
I think the board of callers just make a good solid hit on the ref.
Yeah.
If he's in the way, just
especially if Alex is one of those.
Because you've dreamt of it your whole career.
If it's Alex, I highly encourage it.
How many times you get home and you go like, my dear, I wanted to smash that ref today.
We did get Alex in the Paarl.
Drop the shoulder.
We did Alex in one of the Paarl games this week. Whatever age group, and we're gonna make a petition. We're gonna put our phones out. We're gonna have cameras out.
All I'm saying is that if I am appointed by any chance to any of the matches in Paarl, I'm not going to tell you so that you don't come watch, because that just.
I hope he gets like a sort of under 15 and 16 a game at 4 on Saturday, live on SuperSport School. That'll just be the crowning moment of the season.
Oh my goodness!
Because then you can interview him and I can commentate.
Yeah.
That'll
Rather than this conversation going any further, let's do the impossible truth, which at the moment is the lesser of the two evils. I'm at 50%, 8 from 16. So
Cooksy,
I might not join you at Forest if I lose all credibility.
You know, we try to make impossible truth topical, so it's about the Paarl Derby. 2013, Grantham Miners, star of the show. For Balcom. He was captained by 100 Pollard.
Okay, are you starting to mull it over?
It's brewing.
All right, Shaun Erasmus, as a head coach of Paarl Boys Eye, has a winning record over Peter Rousseau in interschools.
Okay, so here's what I know. I know that Shaun Erasmus had a proper streak in the late 2010s. I don't know when Peter Rousseau started at Paarl. I've probably been told, but I don't know. So, yeah, that's what I know about that. That's what I know about that.
It's not much.
It's not much.
Yeah.
And last year I would have known when we did the build-up for it, because I had read I'd literally, Hannes Nienaber, who does all our great writing at SuperSport Schools, has a list with team, coach, referee going back since the start of time.
And because of that list, I couldn't go where I wanted to, because I wanted to be my, thing sort of that Jonathan Kaplan has refereed everything except into school.
And because of that list, you couldn't.
I couldn't use that.
Yeah. So, like I said, it's just better if I flip a coin. So your one, I have absolutely no idea. I know nothing. I would be completely guessing at that. The only thing I do know is that Sean had a very good win rate. And then I feel like maybe it's not, though, that it was good, but it was before Peter. Do you know that I know that there's that win rate? Because you talk about it all the time. You do talk about it. So maybe you know that and think that's which way I would go.
He goes deep into these things.
The fact that is true is the one that I know nothing about.
The thing is with Alex, he's so wrong. Wrong again. Wrong. Under 50%, eh? Welcome.
So I just want to put this out there. So very interestingly enough, I think also Peter Assou might have started in 2015. Boys, I had that golden period, 15, 16, 17, where they went unbeaten. So Sean still holds a slight edge in the head-to-head with Peter. They are, without a doubt, two of the finest schoolboy coaches South Africa's ever had.
So I really just taught myself out of what I actually knew.
The funniest thing, we opened the show talking about the baby box. When's the last time we won the World Cup? 2012.
Andre Pollard.
We played Fluff in 2012, Andre Pollard. It was a matric. It's like, what you had to do is just take a step back. Go back to when you last won.
That's
in my mind. I was like, I think I've given Alex an easy one.
Yes,
I've given it.
When you said it, I thought it was
in
too
my
easy.
mind. I was gonna figure out maybe. My first thought was to throw someone Murat in there to trick you. That was like, you know what? Maybe. I was like, you know, I'm not going to Pollard, and we couldn't golf. I gave him a free pledge.
Yeah,
I gave him a look.
I literally thought, I know this is probably true, and then I thought, but you know that I know that, so maybe it's actually trying to trick me, and then that's why I just...
So I know you want to finish off, and I know you want to go with your, but to finish it off, bye-bye, you know. But I want to spend 5 more seconds on what's going to happen this weekend at Interschools. It is theatre of the highest order. Forest Street will be packed by 25,000 people. And the interesting thing is the spectators yearly grow roughly with the matric class size of the previous year. There will be more spectators this year than last year because of 2 more matric groups finishing, one at Boys Eye and one at Kham. And you go back, and the school stays the same size. So there's 400 extra people that might be there compared to next year. And so it grows every year. It'll be the moment of the year probably in schoolboys rugby.
I'll see you in Paarl. It's going to be a fantastic weekend. We've been talking all about it here on Rugby on 216. Sput has gone with Paarl. Cooks has gone with Paarl boys. I've also joined the picks, gone with Paarl boys as well. It's all happening on Saturday, the 2nd of August. All we have time for on today's episode of Rugby on 216, brought to you by Thirsty. New episodes every Tuesday at 7. We'll see you next week for the aftermath of the biggest schoolboy rugby derby on earth. But for now, bye-bye.